Well, what more can we say than congratulations on a series win? How does that feel? I know it's a bit of mixed emotions, but it must be nice to get that shield back.
Yeah, it does feel a bit mixed. The girls are... Well, they're celebrating at the moment, but, it is a weird feeling at the moment. But, they fought so hard in that game, and to lose just right at the death. But it just goes to show, the points aggregate came into play and we scored more points, and that's how we won the series. And, I think, to go to 3 games now, I think we're putting our hands up for it and going, please, can we play these 3 games? We definitely deserve it. And I think it would have been fantastic to now go into a 3rd game and play it out as well. So, but we're going to enjoy the win. I think the girls just scrapped in both games, and I thought they just showed what Queenslanders are all about, and I'm super proud of them.
And how about that record-breaking crowd, Ali? What was it like out there?
Absolutely amazing. Just to see the sea of maroon coming from all the blues. So it was great to see so many people have travelled so far that, those people from Mount Isa, they've travelled so far to be here, and you saw that out there. They got behind us, and I think they got us home. But, yeah, another record-breaking crowd. Every time we play Origin, no matter where it is, we're breaking records. So bring on the next one.
Must be proud of the women's game and how far it's grown to see that.
Definitely, and I think you see that with the game. Like, they're always tight. You never have scores that blow out. You never know what you're going to see. You see the biggest hits you see, and yeah, the tries are, they're unbelievable what we're being able to do, and that's thanks to the NRL for giving us that extra game. I think that just proves that we can go one more, and just by the crowd showing up, I think you see that.
When we spoke to you earlier in the week, you promised that it was going to be a show and that it was going to improve tenfold on game 1, and I think you really delivered on that. How did you find the feeling around the game compared to last time with the error count?
It was a bit of a scary show at the end. I didn't know what was going on, and Meg come out and told us it was a draw, and I was trying to put 2 and 2 together and say 8 doesn't equal. I was like, it was a 4-point gap, but I guess, we came out in the first half and I thought we were great. New South Wales had nothing to lose. They played exactly how I thought they were going to play. They were throwing the ball around. They were doing what they wanted to do to score points, and we battled the storm there. I think in the second half they probably got a roll on, started to come through our middle, but we hung in there, and that was the Queensland spirit that we showed, and I could not be prouder of the girls.
I'd like to get both your thoughts on this, but do you think the men's game should consider implementing aggregate to get rid of dead rubbers?
No, I think I think it was just a one-off occasion to throw that out there. It was only a 2-game series, so they needed to work out the win without taking last year's into consideration. And I think it was a really good way to do it. So, I think men's Origin, it's different for them. They play the 3 games and they can play that out. But every single game that you go into Origin, you want to win it. Doesn't matter whether it's a dead rubber or not, you still want to win every single game. So, I don't think it's a thing for the men's game, and we'd like to see us go to 3 games so that we can play it out and win 3-0.
Similar?
Yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a mixed emotions in there. Some of the young girls are a little bit disappointed. For me, I'm pumped that we got the first ever series win. Yep. So I think that'll sink in for them, but yeah, like I said, the NRL did a great job in making sure it's a points aggregate. And for both teams, New South Wales will go away disappointed that they didn't get the series, but in the women's game, we move on. We start we're in pre-season and we got to play in a couple of weeks. So it'll hurt for a bit, and I'm happy to say I'm a Queenslander for the rest of the year, that's for sure.
And what did you think about Romy's apparent hip drop there at the end?
Oh, look, I haven't really had a good look at it. So, it's just one of those things that have come into the game, and now we see it in the women's game. So I haven't really seen too much on it. So I'd like to have a really good look before I make a comment on it. But, she was just going out of her way to make a tackle, and I think from what I could see, she just lost her feet in the tackle. So we'll see what happens from it.
Guys, Townsville's a host city. How has the experience been bringing the game up north?
It's been awesome. I was saying we were walking down the Strand and people are just coming up saying, see you tomorrow night, we'll be there. And that was everyone. No matter where you were, people were telling you they were going to the game. I think everyone in Townsville came to that game and the hype was there. After the boys last night, you see the maroon jerseys walking around the street, and Townsville couldn't have been more welcoming.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's talk about maybe the potential of Townsville becoming a regular host city for the men's Origin. There's been discussion of an alternating game with Newcastle. What would you think about Townsville becoming more involved in the Origin series for both men's and women's?
I think it's a great venue. I think we absolutely loved it up here. It's a great place to do your leading camp as well, and I think the stadium's outstanding the way they've presented it, and I think the girls absolutely enjoyed their time up here, so I'd be all for it.
And we had a debutante tonight in China Pilata. How did you see her go?
Yeah, China was great. You know, we made sure that China had played the way she actually plays, and I told her to get a touch on the ball really early, and she did that. And she's just a tough competitor, and she'll be around the Origin scene for a long time to come. I think she earned her stripes in there, and you know, she really showcased what she could do. She's worked so hard to come back from an injury, and she's earned a right in the Queensland team, and we'll see her for a number of years to come.
We saw a lot of fan support for Romy and a lot of signs there for Shania as well. How nice is it to see them succeeding on, I guess, a home ground?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's a really special one for Romy. I think even though she's not playing for the Cowboys, I think coming from here, and she was like the mayoress of Townsville. I think everywhere we went, someone was saying g'day to her, which was really quite cute. But, you know, she was outstanding again tonight, and she's worked so hard to get into the top 17 for this Queensland side. It's taken her a couple of years to crack it, and then to come home and play in that home crowd and to get the series win. Like, yeah, she must be absolutely stoked at the moment, and I'm stoked for her.
Tahnee, Tasman Gray, player of the series. What did you make of her?
Oh, look, Tassie's a special one for me. I've coached Tassie since she was about 17, 18 years of age, and you know, she's had a lot of changes off the field in her own life and her own circumstances, and to come out and play the way she's played, it's like a proud mum moment for me. She's just, you know, I've coached her for so long, and to see her do that, and she's had some pretty hard times in the last 12 months, and to turn her life around and to come out and win the player of the match and the player of the series, proud for me.
Ali, lots of Cowboys players on the field tonight. You're going to come up against them in a couple of weeks and months' time in the NRLW. Is that a nerve-wracking experience to go head-to-head with some of these girls you call teammates now?
Yes and no. There's a lot of Broncos out there too, and one of those got player of the series and player of the match, so I couldn't be happier. But I guess you don't know what you're going to see in the NRLW. It's the unknown. There's a lot of teams working very, very hard, and it's going to be about who comes together as a team. So we had an opposed session against the Cowboys, and they were looking good, but yeah, I'm missing my Broncos girls back home, that's for sure.
Tahnee, we talked about how you'd like to see it go to a 3-game series next year, but what about an 80-minute game?
Yeah, I think, absolutely all for it. You know, the girls are working so hard. We're getting to a point where we're pushing the boundaries with their fitness levels, and I think Origin is the hardest game that these girls play in, and it's the fastest game they play in, and we want to make sure it's the top level as well when we do go to that 3-game series. So, you know, initially I think we just push for the 3 games, and then we start working on that 80-minute game, because that's what test matches are. You know, these girls came back from a World Cup last year and they played 80-minute games in test matches. So, yeah, if we want to showcase the best of the women's footy, let's put it out there.
Ali, do you have any thoughts on that?
You don't want to, because you just went in the middle.
Well, I got pulled off. I must have been lagging in there, probably showing my age. But, I just want to play footy for as long as we can for as many games. So I would actually love to see, not the curtain raiser because I hate that word, but a joint game with the men. So I guess 2 away and then one big home game. I reckon that'd be awesome.
On the subject of showcasing the best of the women's game, no NRLW season leading into Origin. Is that timing? Is that something you'd love to see looked at again in the future?
Yeah, I think it does need to be considered. I think, we've had girls now that haven't played for quite some time coming into these games, and we're relying on the NRLW pre-season to actually keep them fit and intact for Origin. So, yeah, it needs to be looked at, but, we need to make sure that we've got the competition and the pathways right so that the girls are fully pumped and ready to go for the Origin series. So, yeah, it's something, and even in that, the men have got something to fall back to, Q Cup and New South Wales Cup, so how do we do that in the women's game at the moment? I think we have to have something for those girls that don't make the top 17 each week in, week out with the NRLW. There's nothing to fall back on at the moment, so we need to make sure these girls are playing games. The more games they play, the better they're going to be. So, yeah, it definitely we have to have a look at it, I think, for sure.
And just to spell it out explicitly, how much harder does that make the challenge of preparing a team to...
It really hard. there's been a lot of monitoring. We've got a really good performance staff that are constantly in contact with the girls to make sure that they're doing themselves and their teammates some justice by training really hard, but it doesn't take away the fact that they haven't played games. So that makes it tough that you want them playing the top end of their sport and then lead into an Origin series.
Did you already see a difference from game 1 to game 2 having that game under their belt?
Yeah, I think so. I think the error count was a lot less than what it was in game 1, and it was a dry track, so that made a bit of a difference as well. But being back and having the footy in the hands and the level that they're training at back in their NRLW's pre-seasons at the moment made a difference.